OuterOrange.
So, I have asked you guys to send me your Zorga deck profiles, whether they are from set 2 or coming up to set 3, and you guys did. So we're gonna go over today and discuss some of those amazing lists of Zorga, because I feel like Zorga needs a little bit more representation. People should see like what exactly other people are building and what's out there in the world of Zorga players, part of the Zorga cult. Welcome back, OuterOrange here. We're gonna go and get started on these wonderful deck logs and lists. So let's get on to it. All right, so here we go. Here's my list, Zorga Master Race. That's what I named it. And yeah, so pretty much we have our Persona rides. I actually run 3 husks total, crazy, and I do run Ranker Chain and the starter as a normal. We kind of discussed my list before, but I have been tweaking it here and there. So aside from my main profile one, I've been tweaking my list overall. Honestly, it hasn't changed too much. I've just been kind of changing things like what I want to see more, what I don't want to see more. Until I run 4 Hedrina, 4 of the Rogue Headhunter. I go for a really big push turn. I want every turn to be as lethal as possible. I did start running draws, but I may change it back to fronts. I just keep going back and forth between the two because I'm really having a tough spot figuring out which are better, as the draw really does help secure getting to cards quicker, and then you know the fronts are just more aggro, but it's just hard to tell. But I think draws or fronts are fine. Obviously a crit is just the way to go. Wherever my other crit is, there he is. There's our octopus boy. And GDR and condensation just too good. Just this combination right here of Nectar and GDR and condensation, they just all just doing, this is like a really good push turn. And you guys might be wondering why the heck I have Wild Intelligence in here. Well, Wild Intelligence is pretty much another Hedrina in my list. I want to get to my pieces as quickly as possible and have a really solid turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3 turn. So I actually go with Wild Intelligence to kind of help push for that even more, as the card also calls itself out, calls a unit out on top of milling. I mill through, I get my stuff, I get my grade 1s, get my Hedrina, get my Shark in time, and then I just push until the opponent just dies, essentially. Against Bastion and Bruce, this deck has been really doing me wonders, but it is a lot less restricted. It's a lot more restricted, it's a lot less toolboxy. Zorga is a very open deck, and I feel like you can get away with a lot of stuff, and if something works for you but doesn't work for someone else, it's perfectly fine, because there is a playstyle difference when it comes to Zorga players. I feel like some people want to play more toolboxy, some want to play more aggro, some want to play more defense, and that's perfectly fine. I'm all for it. So that's why we're going to be seeing a lot of differences here, a lot of different types of decks, so I'm pretty excited. So that's my list. We have a Sylvian Horned Beast here, and he has, my list I've been using, I was sent this sooner, but the original tweet reply never sent, so the average right now is 2 wins, 2 losses. Last week was 1 win, 3 losses, and best week was 1 win, 2 wins, 2 losses. So we have our usual, they don't run the extra husk because they're not crazy like me. But anyway, they got the Persona ride, husk, Ranker Chain, and starter. Nothing too different here. They do run the hydraulic ram dragon to get the extra 5k. I support this mainly because this is really good against prison. Prison has a way of negating, you know, damage, and you can put this into their prison and call it back out, and it will still hit. So it's actually not too bad. They do want run shark and 1 sharpshooter. Coffin shooter. Sorry, I actually like seeing the coffin shooter. I've been experimenting with coffin shooter, and I can see this card eventually over time being like super good if you have tech options for like binding. For instance, we're getting some stuff in set 3 that lets you get stuff happening if you bind more. So there's a card, it's a grade 3 that says it gets 5k for everything bound, or order bound. So you can actually, you know, cycle, if you can get a way to bind as quickly as possible, something like coffin shooter will actually help push that even further. Literally a soul blast, you bind an order and you call itself out. So essentially you're literally losing no value unless you have like no orders at all in your drop zone. But this card's just really good. It's a nice way to you can GDR into Nectar a lot easier, knowing if you can use this as well to kind of call some stuff out. You can call this out and then you can just GDR Nectar, and you know, if you have like you don't have to use your hand as much, and it's just really nice. But we have Hedrina, of course, 4 Hedrina, 3 Headhunter, which is perfectly fine. Some people cut back on the Headhunter, but will keep the Hedrina because I think most people will agree that Hedrina is the more important pick, as she negates all Soul Blast, whereas Headhunter just negates Counter Blast. And Counter Blasts are a little bit easier to control, where Soul, like once you're out, you're kind of out, and it's hard to kind of replenish it back. Whereas in this case, with Counter Blast, you can always heal or do something to kind of get them back, where once you're out of Soul, it's really hard to unless you Persona Ride or something, it's hard to get it back. We do see 1 Bell. Bell's skill says when placed on rear, you may, it is a may, so it's not mandatory. You can drop all your bind cards, pretty much everything bound, you can drop it to your drop zone, and then if you do that, she gets 5k for everything bound that went from the bind zone to the drops. And then he does run four fronts here. Not bad. The fronts are very nice and spicy, very good shield value. I think the shield value of fronts is just magnificent. And then of course we got the PGs. We do run 7 crit, 4 heal, and then going into the orders down here, on regurgitation, I can understand regurgitation. Regurgitation against certain matchups is actually really good. My issue is that it's a little costly. I have the same issue with both of these. Honestly, they're both costly, and if you miss, you know, your Rogue Headhunter or Hedrina, these cards get very costly very fast. Whereas these other ones, with the exception of this one, but the other ones are just kind of easier to kind of get through. We also see we have a Ghost Chase here, which kind of makes which helps with the Cursed Agony, in my opinion. I think Cursed Agony and Ghost Chase are actually really good friends. But yeah, so Regurgitation lets you pretty much retire something and cause something else. If you hate something on someone's board, you can pop it, bring it back, really good stuff. Cursed Agony lets you look at top 4, call 2 cards to get 5k, and if you combine this with Soul Condensation, and if Soul Condensation is the first card, then you can actually get an extra 5k on top of that. If you call something from this card and then call something from this card, all the units called will get an extra 5k. GDR, you get an extra 10k to your front row. Essentially, it's just good. It's only a counterblast for its skill. Awesome card. We got 1 Nectar. I personally would honestly push this up 1 more just because I think Nectar's really good, but I kind of see his engine here. He's not really going for like he's kind of toolboxing it a little bit here, which is good. I like the toolbox. So the Nectar, just for space issues, I can understand why there is 1 less Nectar. Of course, I personally, it makes sense that he's prioritizing the GDR and the condensation over the other orders, so it makes sense why everything else is 1-ofs. So Nectar, if you don't know, if you for every 5 in drop, you get an additional 5k onto a unit, and then if after 15 you get crit, and you pretty much just play it. That's my favorite part about this card, is that there's literally no cost. You just literally play it. So it's great because if there's ever a situation where you're getting low on counterblast or getting low on soul, this card just says, I don't really care. You can just play me and do whatever you want. Like, it's just perfect. He does run the cycling card. This is overcoming the unnatural death. Counterblast 1, you bind this card, and then you take 2 cards. You may take 2 cards that are orders from your drops into your hand. So that includes, by the way, like blitz orders and stuff like that. So this card's like pretty decent. I think early on this card's amazing. In late game, this card starts falling off. The counterblast 1 does make a difference sometimes, where sometimes you need that counterblast for GDR. But overall, it's a really good cycling card, so it's good. Obviously, we got Soul Condensation, and then we got the Ghost Chase. So overall, just a pretty fun deck here. So we have Spectral. Got here, so he is running the traditional ride line here. He's got the Shield Fisher Dragon, which I believe, is this the 18k one? It is the 18k one. Interesting. So it's a Vanguard Rearguard. If you called a Rearguard only from hand this turn, this unit cannot attack. Very interesting. So he actually runs an extra little tech here just for extra power. That my guess, because it is an 18k, and against Prison, this is actually also really good. So I actually kind of like this more than, because it is a Vanguard Rearguard skill. For a longest time, I thought it was only Vanguard, but it is a Rearguard skill. So against Prison, this is actually even better now that I think about it than what I've been running. Now that I think about it, what have I been doing with my life? So I'm assuming he's running this literally just to deal with to regurgitation, which he has down here, and also just to deal with Prison, because, you know, it's an 18k base. We have around the 2 sharks here. Bell is in here as well for just the extra power. He's just going for the full power here. He does have a little bit of cycling here. He runs 2 Nectars, and then he runs our 2 regurgitation. He runs 2, I guess, just, you know, to get this out quickly as possible, and also deal with bashed matchups. So not too bad. And then he runs the 3 GDR and only 2 Soul Condensation. I honestly would probably take this out, the Ghost Chase, and probably just put an extra 1 of these in, but that's just me personally. Otherwise, I think this deck is actually very awesome. I like that. I like seeing this. I actually think about this as a rear guard, and that's pretty much honestly what he's trying to set up here for, and that's really awesome. So I like this. I like this. It's pretty nice. It's got all the toolbox stuff, but also has like the push if you need it. I approve spec. Next we have Matt. So Matt actually is doing a set 3 list. Set 3 is not currently out yet, so I'll kind of explain this a little bit for you guys so you guys know what's going on here. But essentially set 3 has a little bit more that Zorga can do, mainly right here. It's mainly this card, and as you guys can see from this deck here, that's the only change that Matt so far made. And it's been a little bit of time. This was it's been like about a week, a little more than a week now since there was the release, so I'm sure he's probably changed it a little bit since then. But pretty much here he's got the normal you know, ride line for GDR, because GDR is too good. He does have 1 regurgitation still, just, you know, for that extra clutch retire. And I'll talk about Doggy here in a little bit. We'll talk about the orders first, because Doggy, that makes more sense. And then he does run 1 Shark, 1 Nectar. He's got 2 Ghost Chase, 1 of the overcoming the unnatural death, and 2 Soul Condensation, and then he's running the new crits that lets you put into Soul to give 2k. It's just there for Soul Engine, which is really needed in this deck, especially now. So let's talk about the Doggy. Doggy pretty much says, when placed from hand, you can search your deck for a order that is not the same as an order in your drop zone. So you can search for a GDR so long as there's one in your drop zone, if that makes sense. If there is one in your drop zone, you do literally nothing. It's a feels bad moment, nothing happens. So essentially what you want to do is you want to search for your one-ofs, or you want to search for something that you just don't have in your drop. So say you don't have a GDR in your drop, well then you probably want to get one. So that's kind of what this card enables. It enables to get away with one-ofs more often, as you can search for overcoming the unnatural death quicker. You can get your Nectar out if you would want to do that. Whatever it is that you're trying to go for, you can kind of get to it now a little bit faster, as you can then alchemy magic with it the next turn, as it is a grade 2, so you can do this on your grade 2, and on your grade 3 you're set up, or you could do it on your grade 3 and then you're set up. It does have a secondary skill. Secondary skill says when an order is played, you may Soul Blast, and you can get 5k, and then if you alchemy magic, you can return a card from the board to your hand that isn't himself. So you have to return another rear guard, essentially. It says to return another rear guard. So what you can do is that you can, or Cursed Agony isn't in here, but if you were to have Cursed Agony, you can Cursed Agony, you know, get out like really crappy cards if you want, like a crit or something, but then this card says, hey, bring that back. So this kind of helps with just bringing cards back, and then that's where Ghost Chase kind of comes in, because you actually use Ghost Chase on top of this and bring back 2 cards, potentially. Ghost Chase is on your opponent's turn, but this is on your turn. So you have a chance to kind of double bounce, and you will notice that he is running for 11 crit in this deck. Of course, with the updates, this will just be 8 crit, 4 front, 8 crit, 3 front, or 7 crit and 4 front. Something I forgot to mention, probably should have mentioned before this, but when he gave me this list, this was before the restrictions were found out, so just something to know. You can't run 11 crit, you can only run 8 total. It is a little bit of a deck change, but that's it there. And then, yes, that's Matt's list. Let's go ahead and talk about another one. Let's go ahead and talk about Slate's list. Here we have Slate list, again, the usual starter package, and then we got Shark. So we got the Shark, and then so Slate kind of does a toolbox engine, like a very aggressive toolbox engine here, so you'll notice a little bit difference. We got the double Shark, the 3 Hendrina, and 3 Rogue Headhunter, if not mistaken. Yeah, so they pushed that back to include stuff that's like a little bit more for the toolbox. They run 2 bells. One of the on hits, you get to return an order to hand, I believe. Yeah, choose an order from your bind zone, add to hand. So that's the on-hit guy, and then we have 1 Elena in here, and then we have 1 of the old PG and 3 of the regular PGs. Mainly because this is, I believe, a 6k? It's a 7k, so it's just an extra little booster there. And then 3 draw, run the 2 Ghost Chase, 2 Nectar, 2 GDR, 3 Condensation, 1 Regurgitation, and then we got the 8 crit total, and then 3 draw. Yeah. Okay, so the point of this is that, so they're going for a push turn, but also a toolbox turn. So you notice that's what the Alina is for, and that's what also the extra bells and stuff is for, and just extra stuff to kind of just help push the deck on grade 2 if they want to have a grade 2 turn, or they could choose not to have a grade 2 turn and just have things regular. This deck is very unique, and actually, like I mentioned, they've actually been winning with this deck. If I'm not mistaken, they're beginning 1st and 2nd. I could be wrong. I know 2nd place has definitely been a thing. I could be wrong about the 1st one, but they've actually been doing pretty well in locals and stuff like that with this deck. It's very unique. I faced them. I honestly usually have a hard time because I'll be playing Zorga too, and usually it's a hard matchup to deal with, to be honest with you. So I think overall what they have here is just very unique and very fun, and I do like the Alina. I think Alina is kind of hard to use sometimes because it's from hand, but I used to run Alina, and I think Alina is pretty fun, so I'm for the Alina. It creates a column, so it's not too bad. So that's Slate's list. Let's go ahead. Pretty ghost units in your area. Let's go ahead and talk about who's next. Let's see if they gave me a deck. Oh, they did give me a deck. Just did a video on it. I'll probably make a list for you on app, but here's the video in case you want to check it out. So here is the Shield Fisher list. Let's see if we can get like a... This is a JS MK2, another Grand Blue player, so obviously they play a lot of Zorga, hence why they straight up told me, you know, I've tested this stuff because obviously it's like their go-to grind. All right, so here we have a JSS MK2 list. So we got the usual starter, usual ride line, nothing too different there. 4 Hydrina. Dang, they're running 2 of the on-hit, get an order back. Interesting. 1 Bell, 4 of the Rogue Headhunter. Wow, that's... very interesting. We got the double, the 3 and 3 of I approve, and then we got 2 Regurgitation, 1 Nectar, 1 Ghost Chase, and okay, I can kind of see this. I see this. I think this is interesting. Is this even is this an AK? Oh, thank God it's an AK. At least it's an AK. Yeah, so he's running the 8 crits and 3 front approach as well, so not pretty good. I think 8 crit 3 front is the way to go, honestly. There's just no, you just can't go wrong. And he's got the Shark for like win con, and he's got the Bell obviously for extra power. Not too bad. I like this. I like the quarter synergy and stuff like that. Like I said, the only thing I personally would just take out, I would just take out the Ghost Chase and just make another Nectar. That's just me personally. I keep saying this mainly because I just feel like Ghost Chase is just pretty rough to use unless you have like Agony or some ways to just have a whole board for free, and then you can can just, you know, bring it back. You just plus like so much off of Cursed Agony. With Ghost Chase, it just pluses even higher. But I do understand Ghost Chase is early on, it's just really good to save units and stuff like that. And just having a 1 of it's just not awful. We haven't really been talking about order ratios, but most people go for 10. Let's see how much he has here. He's 5. Yep, he has 10. So yeah, 5, 6, 9, 10. Most people go for a 10 order ratio and not really more or less, because 10 is just a good spot where you're not too cluttered, but you're not too undercluttered, and you want to see your orders, but you don't not see your orders. I like the list. I like the list. It's pretty. I like this. This is tempting me to like put it in. I also love the art, by the way. The art of this Banshee's beautiful. It's a ghosty, but she looks kind of like a banshee. Someone threw a magnolia list in here. I don't really know why, but this is Lezim. I randomly thrown a magnolia list, so sure, let's briefly talk about it. I'm not a big magnolia player, so I don't know too much. But to me, it looks like a very standard list. I don't know about the Alina, and they're not running wild. Oh, they are running wild intelligence. I don't know about the Alina, but the wild intelligence and everything else is pretty much standard. You're running extra draw, which is good, and then you got your 7 crit, good. Like I saw people even run even more draw. I think Elfin's not too bad. And then obviously you want to run this combo, so that way you can move stuff around to which way you like. Teddy just for extra power. Obviously this enables you another attack, which just makes you not cry in case you miss persona rides. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This gives you an extra soul, and yeah, like I don't personally know magnolia list too much, but this list doesn't seem too bad to me. I don't see an issue with any of this. It seems pretty standard to me, so I'm not gonna go too far. I do like the 7 crit personally, but I know most people run more draws. I just think the aggro is just nice. You can just because that's the most non-scariest thing about this deck is the Vanguard. The magnolia that attacks is usually a 13k base, as your back row is going to be attacking anyway, so you never boost with magnolia unless you persona ride. Magnolia is always 13k, so usually people can say no guard to it or like hard PG it or whatever. Long story short, if they don't and that crit does hit, that's pretty spicy. So that's our random magnolia list in our list of Zorgas. And then we have another one here. Here's Ricka. So this is the current list. Been playing Zorga since release. Keep testing and changing my list. This feels nice currently. This is also the list I used for WCC, the remote fight that they had with a different fight, going for the prize. Was I think 2 weeks back. Didn't top, but I tried my best. I got 5-2, no nectar because I never mill with Hedrina. Interesting. So this is a non-milling Hedrina list. They're more focusing on Hedrina's skill than the actual milling. So here we have, it's very standard, actually very interesting. So it's 4 Hedrina, 4 Headhunter, and then you have 4 crits, obviously 8 crits total, the heals, and then we have the fronts, and we've got Cursed Agony, Regurgitation, GDR at 4, Condensation at 2, and Ghost Chase. Not too bad. So their focus is like, not so much on the milling, but so much on just like survival, but also having like numbers is what I'm seeing. So pretty much they always have a board, they never use their hand, and they're constantly attacking. So what if that makes sense? So pretty much all of the stuff that they have down here is all for just having board and never using your hand, or using your hand as little as possible. So that's kind of like what they're going for here, and that's why they're not really milling so much, as they're not trying to deck out, as they're going for the longer game. So they use Regurgitation obviously to get units back. They use the Agony to just get units on the board, and that honestly kind of in quotations mills for you in a way. And then GDR just for extra power, Soul Condensation you get a card back and extra power. And then of course we run Ghost Chase to again save your units that you want to save, and also just to get your PGs, your fronts, whatever back to hand. So this is like a very like protective, I'm safe for a while type of deck. So not too bad. I like it. Loroneroll SIMP. And actually, this is our last person here. I'm not a main Zorga, but I main Stockade as a whole, and I run this list. So nice, not bad. Thank you for sharing with us here. So we have normal ride line. Oh, we are running the Shield Fisher. Seeing another Shield Fisher. But anyways, we got Hedrina. We got the 4 Hedrina. Got the 2 Shark. Got the 4 Rogue Headhunter. We got the 3 fronts. You got the 8 crit. Yep, a 1 Regurg, 1 Cursed Condensation, 4 GDR, 4 Condensation, and 2 Nectar. I think in terms of order lineup, this is like pretty solid. I'm not a big fan of Cursed and Agony, but other than the Cursed and Agony, I think this is pretty standard. It's very to the point. I think this deck is actually very spot on. It's actually something I would run. The only reason I run a little bit differently is because I want to guarantee a grade 2 rush. But I like it. I approve of this. I approve. So yeah, not bad. Thank you for sharing your lists, and thank you everybody that shared their list. I think we have one more that I got to look at. It's Jamie. Now that I think about it, I think Jamie posted, but because he was asking questions, I missed him here. So let's go find Jamie real quick. So this is Jamie's aggression list here. So this is aggro to the max. This is probably what I should have ran when I was really thinking about aggro. But pretty much, if you'll notice here, there's no PGs at all. Mantis is covering up PGs, and everything else is just aggro. We're just going for straight aggro. We got the GDRs, we got the condensation, we got the nectar, got the extra husks. As you see that there's the extra husks. There's the hydraulic ram dragon as well for extra beefy beef, and just mantises for it. This is just straight brute force. You got the 8 crits, 3 fronts. This is brutality at its max peak. He did mention that he kind of wants to bring a couple PGs back, but he did say that he's testing this. This isn't like his this is the deck to go to. It's just kind of his testing list. So yeah, you'll notice that this is big aggro. There's no other way to put this. This is just, even the mantises, this is so aggressive, it's not even funny. I kind of like the aggression on it, I'm not even gonna lie. I like how aggressive this is. I like that he said screw PGs. I think it's hilarious. And I don't even disagree, because honestly, Zorga dies to rush really fast. And if you don't kill off Bruce and Bastion fast enough, I do agree that something like this will actually help you. It's a funny list, but I actually kind of like it. Because this is what I've been pushing for in my Zorga list, but with a little bit of defense, because this deck just said screw that. But yeah, not bad. You'll notice that they're running 4 and 4 of the. He does run the 2 regurgitation, I guess, just to get this out as soon as possible, or just pop off anything he doesn't want to see. But yeah, I like this. The 4 and 4 I definitely see. You'll notice that there are actually 11 orders in here, but that's okay. I like it. Like I said, he did say that he would consider putting 2 perfect guards back. I don't know what he would exchange for that instead. Maybe these or something. I don't know, but he did say that was something that was on his mind. But yeah, this is Commander Jaime. If you guys don't know Commander Jaime, he's got a whole channel dedicated to Guard Blue and Zorga, all this stuff. You guys can check him out on his YouTube, on his Twitter, anywhere else. Commander Jaime is great. He's got a lot of knowledge. He playtests a lot of in general Stoicheia, Aquaforce, Genesis, Grand Blue-esque type decks. He's really into just like thinking out like a lot of different multi-attacks and maneuvers and just things he can do. So I'm a personal friend of him, so I respect his content. I respect him as a person, so I thought I'd get that information out there for you guys, for those guys that may not know him. And yeah, that's it. That's our list, guys. That's our list. It's good to be back. So yeah, guys, tell me your favorite Zorga list that you saw there, or if you want to share your Zorga list, you can just at me. You can at me with some lists too. If there's more that you want, I'm willing to share more lists. I'm willing to do this again for set 3, or mainly set 3 focused lists. If this goes well, if you guys really like this type of video of just focusing on only one deck essentially, or one archetype of a deck, so like only Zorga decks or Zorga-esque decks. And I will do this again if this is really enjoyable. If you guys like it, you guys can give a like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Tell me your thoughts and feelings. Like, I love talking about Zorga, and I love giving feedback on Zorga and letting people know kind of what Zorga is and what Zorga does, because there's not that much representation, as Zorga is one of the lesser played decks. Other than that, guys, it's been real. Hope you guys had a lot of fun. I'll probably tweet one of these again, so stay tuned for future ones. If you want to be a part of them, if you want to be featured in the video like this, because I do that, I to say your name and all this stuff. If you want to be featured again, feel free to keep up with my Twitter. You guys can follow me at outer_orange, all that fun stuff, or you guys can join my Discord. Yeah, I also have a Discord full of deck profiles of people talking about their decks and deck plotting, all that stuff. So you feel free to go in there and talk to other Zorga players. We have a lot of Zorga players in my Discord. A lot of people with a lot of knowledge. So you can join that as well and talk to amazing people in there as well. Other than that, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. I'll see you guys in a future video. So peace out. Das Vidania. My bangs are going places, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.